Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it is September 6th of 2023, and it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I've just made some changes here, and I'm totally confused. But I made a little test, and I think everything's working all right in a bit. I don't have everything adjusted, okay, the way I want them. I'm confused about where everything is going. I totally changed both of my monitors. And this is an LG monitor. And that's the one that anyway. And the Razer camera is up on top of it. Now that's this monitor here. And this monitor over here, this one, has the OBS control panel. So audio appears to be working okay. But like I said, I'm totally confused. So I'm afraid to do too much of anything right now until I figure out or I'll mess something up. I have the resolution, I think, for both of the monitors at, let's see here, display settings. Okay. So, let's see, I think they're both at the same. No, they are not. But that's surprising because everything is, my mouse moves over between, Well, that's good because then this monitor over here is, so let's see, wait a minute, no. That's, okay, no, this is monitor 1. Okay, confusion range. Okay, this is monitor 1, 1980 by 1920 by 1080. How am I going to remember this? I can slide the monitor, the thing, but so now the other monitor, wait, 1920 by 1080. Wait a minute. Huh. $19.20 by, okay, they're not 3840 by 2160. Well, they're sort of adjusted the way I want them, but they're confusing to me. And by the way, this is 60 frames a second. And looks good. But, I have the ability to change some stuff to make the video larger and to do some other things. Manicam, I miss you. Except you caused me nothing but trouble. So this is LG monitor that this is appearing on. This over here is the where's my flashlight? Okay, I can't read it. Okay, where's my flashlight? No idea. I think I just hit the button on the side. No, that doesn't do it. Okay, hang on a second. I've got too much stuff. Hang on a second. Okay, I still can't read the they have the name of it here, down here in the middle, but in fact it's engraved in there. If I could read Braille, I could probably read it. Vega, something? So, man, things are a mess here, but I think this is a better monitor situation. And one of the reasons is this Vega, or whatever it is, it has all types of connectors on the back of it coming out with cables. And it has, on the side of the monitor are 3 USB 2.0, I think, or is it 3.0? I can't remember. And there's also a 2 or 3 other extra connectors on the back. One of them is micro USB, and that will let me hook up a hang on a second. Okay, I couldn't find the docking station. I see the one docking station that doesn't use USB 3. My other docking station uses USB 3, and it has a bunch of extra abilities and things that I can do, but I tried to find it. It's up on the shelf, and you young whippersnappers, you never heard of Fibber McGee's closet, but that's what this is. I started to pull something out to see if I could find it, and shit started falling on me. Young whippersnappers don't know anything. Also, of course, what I can do is I can have 2 cameras going. If I don't have the second camera hooked up to it. But especially when I hook up the docking station, I'll have plenty of connections. Um, I guess the thing for me to do is, you know, bring this to a conclusion after I ask you to please use my Amazon links. If you use them and you purchase something, I make a little commission. Also, you know, click the thumbs up, subscribe. More subscribers I have, the more thumbs up. I think it maybe generates a little more traffic or something. Okay, where is the docking station? I think I know where it is. There's a chair over there, an office type chair, and there is stuff stacked to the ceiling. And someplace over there is a docking station. Why can't, okay. I see the doctor, the eye doctor, first of next month. Then I need to see 3 other doctors and maybe more. So, got something to keep me busy. Anyway, I think this is going to be a better situation with these monitors. I can't believe that I have them in, I think they're in 3840 by 2160, but that's not what's showing. No, okay, like 1920 by 1080. I think both of these monitors, by the way, are supposed to do HDR. Neither one of them does HDR. There is let's see, go to Amazon. Go to my wish list. I have a whole bunch of keyboards, by the way. I mean a whole bunch. And most of them are pretty nice. But I would like to have the Razer black window. I keep saying widow. I'd like to have that one. One reason is, well, they make some nice, in fact, I think I have one that is, but it does, the screen is not, the keys are not lit at all, 0. So I'd like to have this one. Now, why is this one listed? I forget. I did a search on internet for the best. There's a guy, he has a fantastic site where he talks about, I know he talks about headsets in detail and tests them like crazy. I think that's about the only thing his thing is about is headsets. And this one was, you know, in a reasonable price range for me. But of course, I'm only interested in it would be interested in the microphone. But, oh, ViewSonic. Okay, this is the one that I have now, I believe. But what I would like to have is 2 of these. They're really pretty neat. So, oh, Former President Trump is unbelievable. Although there are several videos where I talk about I actually worked for a guy back in the 1970s, he was director of security. And he was smart, but he made stupid mistakes, and he built himself up. But I mean, he was smart, but he built himself up, and he lied about everything. He couldn't stop himself from lying, stuff that he shouldn't have to lie about. And I didn't think he would be lying. Of course, I found out that he lied about stuff. A whole bunch of it was about me. But I just couldn't believe that somebody would lie about something that was so easy to. With the director of security, the first problem I had was he was mad at one of the security officers for not coming in when we had snow when it was snowing and we had to come in for snow removal. And so anyway, the director of security wrote up a thing and put it in the security officer's our area. He had an office. The secretary had an office with the lieutenant, and then there was a place for us. And he came in, and he was all mad, and he put a thing on the thing that said any security officer who misses work, even for one day, has to have a doctor's excuse. And I said, Mr. Ross, you can't do that. That goes against hospital policy. Jim, that doesn't apply to you. You never miss work. And he said, that applies to, I forget who the guy's security officer's name was now. And I said, okay, if you have a problem with him, if he's skipping work when there's snow removal to do, and you have a pattern of that, I said, then you can call him in. You can explain the situation and says, here is what I see. And from now on, if you miss a day's work, you have to have it, but you can't do it for the entire department. He says, I can. I said, no, you can't. It goes against hospital policy. Then he starts screaming at me and says, if you can get out of my department, I run this department, I make the decisions, and blah, 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 blah. And so I did a grievance, and of course the first step of the grievance was to go to him. I go to him, and he yells at me and screams at me. And then the next step is to go to the Director of Human Resources. I go there, and the Director of Human Resources says, Jim, I told him that no, he can't do that, that even though you guys are in uniform, even though you guys are armed, you're still employees of this hospital, and the personnel policies apply to you just like they apply to everybody else. And he says, I told him, but he won't listen. And I said, fine, I'll go to the next step. So I went to the next step, which to go to administration for the next step of the thing, and administration ordered him to take the paper down and to put a paper up there in the office saying, that previous, policy was wrong and whatever. And then I found out several years later, I decided to go which is you're entitled to do, to go look at my personnel file, because I was wondering what all was in there, And what I found out is that the 4 grievances that I did, I knew that the Human Resources Director sided with me on all of those because they were right. But what I was surprised was there was nothing negative in my personnel file. But what I was really surprised about, on the first grievance, right after the Director of Security had told me, Jim, this doesn't apply to you. You never miss work. It applies to, the name almost keeps coming to me. It applies to him, Well, he immediately went down to Human Resources, when he had the confrontation with me. He immediately went down to Human Resources and told the Director of Security that I was the offender, I was missing work, that's it there again. The guy was smart but stupid. The director of human resources used to be a railroad engineer, not a railroad engineer, uh, who designed railroad tracks and that kind of stuff. This is a railroad engineer that, toot, 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 the horn. And he would tell everybody when new employees were hired in, all this kind of stuff. One thing, he was, by the way, fantastic human resources director and a really nice guy. But he would tell people, in the new employee orientation or whatever, which is, as the day shift supervisor, I also went in there and I did the security part, what the codes mean, code blue, code red, where you can park, where you can't park, how to get a parking, and he did his part, But, so, and he would tell people, I used to be a railroad engineer, and blah, blah, blah. So the director of security went in and told him, I was the biggest offender. And in the paperwork that he had done, when I won my grievance, when I won all my grievances, he had put in there, that Mr. Ross said that Jim Howard was, and Jim Howard's record is, exemplary. And for him, because he would tell people, the trains had to run, and blah, 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 how he would leave, I don't know, a month early to get to, not a month, but, so, anyway. But I found out with Trump's election and with all the information that's come out and the books that have been written about his mental health and his insanity, then I saw, wait a minute, that thing made sense. This director of security who was smart, they have the same condition. They had the same condition. And if I had known that the director of security had this condition, I wouldn't have stuck around, and because I was thinking, okay, he just needs to be straightened out by Jim Howard. And I did, he was racist, and I didn't change him from being a racist, but I saw that some people were, security officers that were fired who had to be fired, and he didn't want them fired, and I went to, I went to the assistant administrator of the hospital, and they were fired. Things like that, but I couldn't if I'd have known back then. I worked there 5.5 years, and I was offered a job as a security officer at Johnson County Community College. That would have been a great place to work for me, instead of dealing with sick people and people that are dying and everything else. I'd have much preferred to be working, and I was offered the job, and I turned it down at Johnson. And I was sticking around, and partially because this director of security at the hospital, he gave me they were correct, but he gave me the most fantastic merit reviews, even after he had his ass called to administration and warned that he'd be fired if such and such, continued to happen from him. I stuck around because, my God, the merit reviews that he gave me were so good, I think. And I kind of liked the guy, but even though the things that he did, the racism and the bragging about how much money he had and all this kind of stuff, 100% just rated the wrong way on me. But I liked the guy. But I couldn't understand the guy. And then later on, then because of the information that came out about Trump, if I'd have known back then, I would have just quit because then moved on, because I would have known there was no way that, that the guy could be changed. And I just thought, well, when he sees, that, but he didn't, it didn't work. That was like 5.5 years, and I turned the job down at Johnson County Community College. And I wish it would have been much better for me working there with young people, even though the guy who was director of security there said, Jim, you know, you got the job. He says, let me just tell you the one bad side. And he says, I'll give you an example. He says, like, we have a dean of students, a dean of faculty, a dean of, you know, we have these people. And we have all these parks here, baseball, football, tennis, you know, all that kind of stuff, things like that. And there are rules. If the students want to use, they have to fill out a paper and turn that in, and it has to be approved, you know. But they won't. They just go and start playing, and then another team shows up or whatever, and it's, you know, whatever. And then they pick up the phone and they call, you know, the students that are there. It'll say, you know, and the dean of students or whoever it is will say, oh, okay, to security. Oh, no, let them use the field. And I said, okay. I said, I appreciate you telling me that. And I said, you know, I really would like to have this job, but I'd have a problem with this. And I said, so. And he says, well, okay, Jim. So I should have taken that job. Man, been a lot less stress of trying to deal with somebody like that. And man, here's people, you know, having to deal with, except the guy at the hospital was smart, but he did stupid things. Donald Trump is stupid and does stupid things. And is, wow. Anyway, thanks for watching.